What is going down, sourdough squad? It is our first official live of the 49ers offseason. And oh boy, there is nothing more entertaining or more peak 49ers than it not even being 48 hours into the off season, and you know the SpongeBob meme where the whole place is on fire and he's like trying to blow it out. Oh boy, woo, y'all better get your the smoke chasers are here, baby. We're about to cook. You already know the vibes. Drop an SDS in the chat. Hit that smash button. Let's cook. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, it's officially smoke season. It's officially tinfoil hat season. You know what time it is, baby boys and girls. It's time to get spicy. Oh, we're back. Oh, this is where I thrive. Off-season content, it really is the perfect time for content creators because you have a blank slate to be able to genuinely be less reactful. I mean, and we have to be reactful, but like when we're in the grind of the week to week, we have practice schedules, we have press conferences, we have an order of operation into how the week is going to cook. So it's really easy to kind of fall in line and just kind of go through the motions of the week. But this is the best time to be a content creator because you have sole reign to be able to drive and develop whatever content you feel you want to curate. And you know how we roll. This is the SDS. We own the off season. So strap in, get ready to go because we got a lot to talk about today. Today, unbelievable. I was traveling all day yesterday from Philadelphia, so we didn't go live yesterday. So we didn't even get to talk about we didn't even get to really live react to yesterday's news of Brock Purdy completely tearing his UCL. We didn't even talk about it. And since then, so much has happened. So, of course, the big theme of today's episode or today's show is we are going to talk about it. We're going to react to it and we're going to give our opinions on it. And, bro, draft season's here. The Senior Bowl's going. I am thankful, though. I was credentialed to the Senior Bowl. I am thankful that I'm not there because being at the Senior Bowl right now and trying to keep tabs on reporting on what's going on with the San Francisco 49ers would just be an absolute nightmare. So we got other 49ers content creators at the Senior Bowl right now, and we'll be able to get into that. But we got a lot of stuff to cover today. Just that has happened, in the last 48 hours? It's been a whirlwind already. So let's get into it all right now. First of all, let's mental health check. Mental health check. How are we doing, people? But before we get into all the topics, because there are a ton of them, mental health check. How are we feeling? Everyone good? Everyone doing okay? This has been a rough 48, 72 to whatever. It's been a rough it's been crazy. I know some of us we're down horrendous right now. Some of us we're working through all this situation as best as we can. Um, but yeah, it's tough. I'm not gonna lie. I was coming home from I just made my connecting flight in Chicago, getting on the plane to go from SFO. It's the big bulk of the trip going from Chicago to SFO. And they alerted us that there was no Wi-Fi. And me being the ADHD person that I am, can't sit still and need something to like engage me. I watched the 49ers tape. I watched that game back twice. And the whole time, uh, it was just reliving the pain. Reliving like I'm just like, oh God. Like, oh, it's wild. Brock Purdy went down on the first series. Whew. But we don't need to talk about that. We already understand. Brock Purdy uh, has a complete UCL tear. Um, and that is going to and so we got some updates about that today as well. Local media was in the locker room today because the San Francisco 49ers are conducting like their exit interviews, they're cleaning out their lockers, they're doing all that type of stuff. So they're all at the headquarters right now and doing all that stuff today. And reporters asked Brock Purdy kind of like what he's thinking. And so far, Brock Purdy hasn't decided on if he's getting surgery or not. And there's multiple surgeries he can get. You can get a repair, which is like a partial. It's not the full Tommy John. So there's levels to this. There's basically three options that Brock Purdy can work through. One is just standard rehab with no surgery. The second option, they call it a repair. It's not the full Tommy John because the full Tommy John, from my understanding, is they're taking essentially a ligament or tissue from a cadaver and they're reconstructing the ligament because it's completely gone. And so the Tommy John is the most severe option. And if he were to get Tommy John, you're looking at a 9 to 12 month timetable for return. That's a long time. That bleeds into the season. That could potentially mean he's not even coming back for the season. So it does kind of feel like he might land somewhere right there in the middle. It might be a repair. And with the repair, that would mean his timetable to return to start throwing is three 3 months. And then that would kind of put him on track to be back for OTAs, not OTAs, excuse me. He'll miss OTAs guaranteed. It will put him back on track to be ready for training camp. So as a result, we talked about this after the game. People didn't want to really have the conversation at the time, and I understood it. But what I had said after the game was, what happens with Brock Purdy is going to determine what is going to happen with this this quarterback conversation. And if Brock Purdy was able to get out of this thing healthy, I think we would be pretty confident with going into this year with Brock Purdy and Trey Lance. But now, because of the injury, who knows what is going to happen. And now we have all the conversations of Tom Brady and potentially other veteran quarterbacks coming into the mix. So it's going to be a long offseason. Get prepared, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lot to talk about. Now, I'm not even scratching the surface yet, man. We have a lot of stuff. Chili said, Brad, missed my super chat. I looked. I don't see a super chat. I don't see a super chat unless you're talking about a different scenario. Um, not seeing it. Hold on one second. Oh, nope. Let-it-dee. All right. Sorry. Bear with me. It's a member. Huh? What I miss? I think I'm out of the loop. Membership? I swear I pulled that up. I swear I pulled that up. Check the tape. Check the tape, Chili. I swear I pulled that up. But anyways, I apologize if I didn't, but I swear I did. So again, we got the update on Brock Purdy. No decision yet on if he's going to have surgery. So if he is not fully decided on a surgery, I'm really hoping he can land on potentially a repair. I'm hoping it doesn't have to be Tommy John, because if it's Tommy John, man, oh man, that is the absolute worst case scenario. And that's not we don't want that. We don't want that at all. How legit is the Aaron Rodgers trade talk? Uh I think this is one of the more unlikely outcomes. And again, this is just pure speculation. But if I look at the situation, I really don't think the Packers want to trade, especially LaFleur. I don't think they want to trade Aaron Rodgers to in conference. From everything that I would assume sending Aaron Rodgers to go be with Kyle Shanahan, who already knows the scheme, I think that just is bad for the Packers in the long run, especially if the San Francisco 49ers and Packers meet in the playoffs and you have that situation. Like, I don't think that is the best case scenario for the Packers. So I don't think the Packers do it. And I don't think it's the best case scenario for the 49ers, because what compensation are you giving up? You know what I'm saying? Like that, you're like talking about potentially trading Trey Lance and picks to get uh to get Aaron Rodgers. So the speculation might be there, conversations might be approached, but I don't personally, if I just had to kind of think about the compensation that would be involved, the fact that it's an in-conference trade. I know Kyle Shanahan called on Aaron Rodgers heading into the draft before they took Trey Lance. You guys remember that? And LaFleur didn't like that a whole lot. There was reports that there was a little bit of falling out. That was when Mike LaFleur was still the offensive coordinator for Kyle, and Matt LaFleur was the head coach for the Packers, and there's a little bit of a little testiness there about that situation. So I don't think it's too legitimate, to be honest with you. I don't think it's. I think that would be one of the least case scenarios. Jesse says, Brad, I'm still so broken over this loss. This has been the worst loss I can even remember as a Niner fan. I'm 41. Man, I cannot tell you how sad it was being in that stadium surrounded by Birds fans, um, watching the Titanic sink. That's really what it felt like. It felt like I had front row seats to watching the majestic, beautiful, well constructed Titanic hit an iceberg and just go belly up and just watch it just like right into the ocean. And there's no stopping it. I couldn't look away. I just had to watch and just be like, all right, this is cool. Game's over. On the first drive. Bro, I'll be honest, man. Uh, I'll be honest. That was the worst loss I think I've ever experienced. Not just like in person. I agree. I don't think I've ever seen a game like that ever. Like for any team, college, high school, NFL, I'm not sure I have ever come across a game like that where it was done. Like there was when when Josh Johnson went down, there was no shot. And that was what? Early in the 3rd quarter, something like that? And you have Brock Purdy going back into the game with a torn UCL, trying to throw. Like, first of all, it's become I've become aware that people were calling Brock Purdy soft. I don't know if that's our fan base. I don't know. I don't expect nothing from any other fan base. Clearly, the Eagles have proven to me that they are just, there are some good apples. There are. But a lot of the way I've seen Eagles fans victory lapping Brock Purdy having a UCL tear. Um, but like if we have our own fans, like I don't even know what else to say about that. Like, that's just tough. Like, to go after like one of your own, especially considering what Brock Purdy has done for us this year and completely saved our season. To to go after someone for an injury, that's wild. That's wild, man. And Michael says Purdy played with a broken rib. Yeah, don't he played with strained oblique and broken ribs against the Seattle Seahawks. This dude's a tough son of a bee. So again, him going back out there and doing what he had to do, not being able to throw and just having to go through the motions. Um, you know what? Since we are on the conversation of toughness, I want to show you this one play from Brock Purdy. I want to show you the last play of the game. And I want to show you when you talk about toughness, I feel like I have to. This wasn't planned. I wasn't planning on bringing this up right now, or at all. But since we are on the conversation of toughness, I would like to show you an example of how tough Brock Purdy is. Okay. I just want to show you. If you have any questions, if you truly have concerns about his toughness, look what Brock Purdy was about to do on the last play of the game with a torn UCL. He is going to, if 43 or 41, whatever his number is, 48, if he doesn't fall to the ground trying to tackle Debo Samuel, Brock Purdy is going for a block. Brock Purdy with a torn UCL on the very last play of a game where the San Francisco 49ers have no business winning. He is getting ready to square up and eliminate a linebacker if he can with no right elbow. Like you cannot even entertain a conversation about this kid's mentality, his toughness, even in a moment when nothing matters. He's getting ready to sell out for a block. Like, that's heart, that's grit, that's toughness. Like, this is a leader, man. Like, you can't teach this type of mentality. If 48 doesn't fall to the ground, Brock Purdy's making contact here. You see him angle, he is going for that block. This is the last play of the game. He has no UCL in his right throwing shoulder. He's a quarterback trying to lay this dude out. So I don't ever want to hear anyone reference his toughness because that's just ridiculous. It's it's ill-informed, it's emotionally driven. It's just a bad take. So, it's a tough situation the whole way through, man. It's really tough the way everything played out. So, Brock Purdy, um, we got to just pray. We just got to hope that it's not going to be Tommy John. That's all we can do right now. Just got to hope no Tommy John's coming his way and he can at least be available for a training camp battle, and we'll see how it goes moving forward. And speaking of the quarterback position, we got a Trey Lance update today. So Trey Lance spoke to the media. I believe it was Matt Barrows who I saw report it first. But Trey Lance told the media that he is 3 to 4 weeks away from being fully cleared and expects to be 100% for training camp, or excuse me, OTAs. So the offseason program begins in the spring, and the San Francisco 49ers uh, are going to have at least one quarterback ready to go. But that still, I believe, opens up the door for another quarterback to come in. Whether it's Brady, whether it's Jacoby Brissett, whether it's another mid to late round quarterback rookie, there's going to be another quarterback in this mix. Whether dare I say Jimmy, I'm not going to put it past at this point. I'm not putting it past. Uh, I'm not, we know what time it is. Day 2 of the off season. I keep that thing on me. So because we've been here before and this isn't our first rodeo, we have learned that you don't rule out anything. You just don't. You do not rule out anything. So we keep that thing on us at all times. So we'll see how it plays out. We'll see how it goes out. Um, let me ask you guys this question since we're on that topic. Even with Trey Lance being healthy, and you had the opportunity to bring in Tom Brady, would you do it? Drop it in the chat. We're going to do our first poll of the chat. We're polling the chat right now. You have an opportunity to bring in Brady. Are you doing it? So far, yeses, nos. Pretty even. Pretty even. Let's see. I polled Instagram, or not Instagram. I polled, I should say. I polled YouTube. Let's see what YouTube said. So YouTube said same conversation. Effectively, these are the options: sign Tom Brady, trade for Aaron Rodgers, roll with Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, sign veteran quarterback. And this is the way it played out. We had 49,000 votes. We had over 1,000 comments. But the leading vote getter was 66% is roll with Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. And to be honest, I would be fine with that option. I don't see any issues with that option. However, I can also understand how the San Francisco managed this quarterback position last offseason. So because of them having Brock Purdy, having Trey Lance, and still bringing in Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm not putting it past them to turn over every stone. So I'd be fine with this option, but I really do believe, just like 22% believe, that Tom Brady is an option. I believe Tom Brady is an option. So last year, I put out this tweet because when the Tom Brady, you had Mike Florio. Mike Florio was on the timeline adamant that Tom Brady was going to be a San Francisco 49er last year. I don't know if you guys remember that. Tom Florio of Pro Football Talk was constantly, oh, guarantee Tom Brady is going to be a San Francisco 49er. Week 1 of the 2022 season, he truly believed that was going to happen. And during that time, I put out a tweet that effectively said, if the San Francisco 49ers are going to bring in Trey Lance, there to me, that's an admission that they missed on Lance. Because when you give up the capital that you give, and then you don't give Trey Lance the opportunity 2 years in a row to at least go out and see what you have, give him the opportunity to potentially grow and develop in real time. I was like, that is an admission of failure if you bring in Tom Brady. And I was like, you got to ride with Trey Lance as quarterback 1. That has to be the answer here. Like, I understood that I get because always the blowback, and I got roasted. I got dragged for that tweet for saying no to Tom Brady and yes to Trey Lance. I got dragged. And I truly felt it because, to be honest, like, if you were just gonna get Tom Brady, then why trade the first round draft picks? You know what I mean? You coulda had Rashawn Slater. You coulda had Micah Parsons. You coulda had a lot of different players if you're just gonna go after a veteran quarterback. And you just ended up landing on Jimmy Garoppolo again. So, that was last offseason. Last offseason, it was the second time that the rumors had been floated about Tom Brady, and I said, "Hell no." And that would be the second time because after the 2019 season, Jimmy got us to the Super Bowl. I said no to Tom Brady then too, because I truly believed that Jimmy Garoppolo was going to continue to improve as a quarterback. I thought he was going to get better. Like some substantially better, and I thought his shelf life would be longer. I was anticipating back in 2019 at any moment Tom Brady was just going to fall off a cliff with his age, but dude is proven to be a cyborg and is somehow still playing. So that's how I managed the Tom Brady situation back then. But it is funny how time works. And all things considered, and kind of seeing how this fran how everything has progressed since that time. 2019 was a long time ago. That was 4 years ago now. Unbelievable. Well, that was 4 years ago now, and we've seen what's happened. So, I love Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy's phenomenal. I think he's the real deal, and I think he could be the future of this franchise. I I've never seen a rookie kind of come in and do what he did. And we've seen some good rookie years. We have, you know, Cap's run was magical. What Cap did, but he wasn't a rookie. He was a second year player. Him coming in on Monday Night Football in Chicago or against Chicago to do what Cap did on that run, that was magical. But he wasn't a rookie. So I believe in Brock. I feel confident in Brock. I think Brock has proven enough to me where I believe in his ability to be a legitimate, potentially top 10 quarterback in this league. It's just unfortunate now that he's hurt, and you just don't know what you just don't know. You just don't know. You never know how someone's going to respond from injury. You don't know if there's going to be an issue. You just, again, you don't know. So you can convince me now, right now, today, you can convince me, you really can, to bring in Brady on a 1 year deal. If you can, if you get me Brady on a 1 year deal with Trey Lance and with Brock Purdy, and my quarterback room is Tom Brady, Brock Purdy, and Trey Lance, guess what? That NFC Championship game better never happen again. We better never have to deal with that situation again if those are our three quarterbacks. And at this point, again, I've always been a proponent of organic growth, of organic foundational building for an organization, but we've kind of done that and it hasn't really got us to where we wanted to go. So I'm open at this point. I'm open to all options. Um, if Trey Lance beats out Tom Brady, then hell yeah, we're doing good. If Trey Lance beats out Tom Brady in training camp because he's playing so well, that's a great spot to be in. If Brock Purdy comes back, beats out both Tom Brady and Trey Lance, that's a great spot to be in. If Tom Brady is good enough to keep off the young Bucks, that's still a good spot to be in. So I am open. I'm not closed minded at all to this quarterback situation. I've removed myself from being like tied to a specific quarterback. I'm tied to quarterback success, and I don't care who it is. That's where I'm at. I've gone through this enough and long enough that I don't care who it is. As long as the quarterback who is quarterbacking the San Francisco 49ers is successful. And if that means it's Brady, Lance, Brock, so be it. I can live with that. I don't have a whole lot of patience anymore. And I don't think the 49ers have a ton of patience because no one's getting any younger. Kittle's not getting any younger. Trent Williams sure as hell isn't getting any younger. Trent Williams is in a walking boot today with crutches. So I'm willing to exhaust any and all options. Money Mark says, if I'm Kyle and Lynch, I'm bringing back the same quarterback room. Yes, that means Jimmy too. Lord knows we needed all three of them, not Tom Brady SDS. I definitely hear you. I definitely hear you, Money Mark. But I would be interested to see a different option than Jimmy G. I feel like we know what Jimmy G is. I feel like Jimmy G is going to be able to get an opportunity somewhere else. He's going to get the bag from someone who's desperate for a quarterback. And, I just think two retreads is I just feel like it's time. I feel like it's time to just take the next step forward and see what life is like post Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Jimmy has done well, has done good enough the last 2 years. But I also do think it's time to kind of see what else is out there, if you can. That's just kind of my vibe. Let's see what else we got here. So that's the update on Trey. what other player kind of updates do we have? We had awards given out today. So the Len Eschmont Award was given to Nick Bosa, Bill Walsh Award to Fred Warner, the Bob McKittrick Award to center Jake Brendel, the Hazeltine Ironman Award to Nick Bosa, and the Heron Memorial Award for rookies goes to quarterback Brock Purdy. And this is kind of the explanation of it all. Len Eschmont is the player who best exemplifies the inspirational and courageous play of Len Eschmont. The Bill Walsh Award is a player that best represented the standard of professional excellence established by Walsh. The McKittrick Award that went to Jake Brendel represents the courage, intensity, and sacrifice displayed by the longtime offensive line coach. The Ironman Award is courageous and inspirational defensive player as voted upon by the defensive coaches. And then, of course, the Thomas Heron Memorial is for the rookie or for first-year player who best represents the dream of Thomas Heron. So that's that. We got that today. We got some player awards. What else did we get? All right, let's we also got Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is now going to be a starter in the Pro Bowl. Again, ultimately something that we don't necessarily want. Because we want to be in a different bowl. But good for Christian McCaffrey. Should have been a starter from the jump. Shouldn't have taken an alternate to be able to get him that opportunity. So we had that update come through today. And then let's see, let's get into kind of the coaching carousel. So again, as we know, DeMeco Ryans was named the head coach of the Texans. Tough loss for the San Francisco 49ers, but very well deserved for DeMeco Ryans. DeMeco Ryans I love him. He's been one of my favorite coaches. Dating back, 10, 15 years. I love DeMeco Ryans. I love DeMeco Ryans because he seems like the type of coach that I would absolutely love to play for. A guy who can teach, but he can relate. He can connect with his players and develop. And he is fantastic. I got another membership. I don't see it. Did I really get one? If I really got another membership, I didn't. It's not showing for me. It's not showing for me at all. So if there is one that came through, thank you. It's not, for whatever reason, StreamYard is not showing that. So I can't see. But yeah, DeMeco Ryans has been a phenomenal head coach. And, it's tough, man. But he's so deserving of this next gig. I love that he has an opportunity to go back to the team that drafted him and has an opportunity. I know it seems like a really rough position, and it's pretty funny to hear that the Denver Broncos sound like they did everything they could to get DeMeco Ryans before they traded more draft picks to trade for Sean Payton from the Saints. But it sounded like the Denver Broncos were on a full court press to get DeMeco Ryans as the head coach. But DeMeco ends up as the head coach for the Texans. And he said it's a dream of his to be the head coach of the Texans, um, which I think is, again, he was drafted by this team out of Alabama. I'm pretty sure he only played with the Texans. He was a phenomenal player. He's one of the best linebackers in the league as a player when he was suiting them up. So he goes back, and we wish him nothing but the best. Bailey says Aziz will probably follow Ryans to Houston. Another guy that I'd love to see in DeMeco's defense is Isaiah Simmons. That would be a great fit. I agree. I said this as well. I said I would bet a bunch of money that Aziz Al-Shaair, who is a free agent, will be following DeMeco Ryans to Houston. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple 49ers players show up there. I know we got a couple free agents. Jimmy Ward is a free agent. There are going to be I think there's going to be multiple people that follow him, because as we know, when you're starting in a new spot, you like to bring along people who you have familiarity with and kind of setting the tone of the culture. So I would imagine not only Aziz, but maybe even Jimmy Ward and some other players that are potentially available. So again, but congrats to DeMeco, man. Oh man, if Mosley goes with DeMeco, I understand it, but I love me some Mosley. I'll be I'll be pretty upset if we have to lose out on Mosley. But I understand it. Mosley, towards ACL, he's a free agent, so it's going to be interesting to see what that entails. But that will transition us into some of the candidates to um fill in for DeMeco Ryans. So this was the first one that we got today. The 49ers have requested permission to interview Panthers interim head coach Steve Wilks for the defensive coordinator position. I wouldn't mind this at all. I'd feel pretty good like if Steve Wilks came in. I'm very impressed with the job that Steve Wilks did as a head coach in the interim after they fired Matt Rule, because if you guys remember, the San Francisco 49ers went to Carolina and they blew up the organization with how badly they beat the Panthers, and he's the guy that took over, and it really felt like the coaches rallied, or not the coaches, the players rallied around him. So that's always going to be someone I'm always going to hold that type of stuff uh in big regard. Uh so I wouldn't mind Steve Wilks as potentially the defensive coordinator. But as I say, I wouldn't mind. There's someone who I want. And that person who I want is Big Daddy Vic. That's who I want. Bring Vic home. He should have been the head coach over Tom Sula. It should have always been Vic. And I love Tom Sula, but Tom Sula he's just a D-line coach, and he's a great D-line coach. But bring Vic home. Bring him home. And this is also a great point. He runs the 3-4, and he runs the 3-4 better than probably anyone. But I would absolutely love to see maybe something that is a little bit of a hybrid, because I do think there is room for the base nickel packages. The base nickel, still, you could effectively run wide 9 up front in nickel, which is your kind of pass rushing, it's kind of your pass rushing split anyways. So if you are running nickel and you have two DNs, two defensive tackles, it's effectively it's a 4-2 front, and you just have a nickel cornerback in. So I think there is an opportunity for it to work. I know Bosa is definitely, it would be interesting to see that integration, but I'm not gonna lie, man. You get me a Brian Burns type to pair with Drake Jackson and to pair with Nick Bosa, and you get me something like that with Vic Fangio calling the shots. I feel pretty happy about that. I feel pretty damn good about that. Um, Give me Vic. I think we can work around the scheme differences. I think we can make something work. I agree Bosa wouldn't like a 3-4. I don't think Bosa would fit naturally into a 3-4. Bosa definitely isn't uh, a 3-4 defensive end. Eric Armstead is 100% a 3-4 defensive end. It fits Eric Armstead extremely well. Eric Armstead is for sure a 3-4 defensive end. Armstead would feast in that scheme. You get a stout nose tackle to plop in the middle. You get two two defensive ends on the 3 tech, and then you get two stand up outside linebackers outside the tackle or tight ends, and you run stunts, you run games, you run, oh boy, that would be fun. That would be fun. I would enjoy that. But we'll see, because I do believe that they can massage the scheme a little bit. I don't think they would completely just say, "Sorry, Nick Bosa, we're going to make you the highest paid defensive player in the world," and then just put you in a position to be unsuccessful. At least I hope that wouldn't happen. But it would be interesting because Chris Kosarek, he's the wide nine guru. So what would be fascinating would be is to see how Chris Kosarek and Vic Fangio link up and what they could develop together. You take the the foundation of Chris's defensive line, you take the foundation of Fangio's ability to fill gaps with linebackers, and you blend it together somehow. I think they could make it work. I'm less concerned about the scheme. I much rather have someone that I know I'm confident in regards to Vic Fangio. So I would love that. Also, Chris Harris, DB's coach for Commanders, is also getting an interview. Um, so that's going down, and we'll see how it goes. But like I said, I would be happy with Wilkes or Fangio. I think either one of those would be uh, something that we could work with for sure. So we'll see how it goes. I'm less concerned about the scheme stuff. I think they'll be able to figure that out. But hey, we're gonna figure out who the next DC is, and we heard the reports right earlier. Was it like last week that the Dolphins they made Vic Fangio the uh, highest paid defensive coordinator, but clearly it's come out that he didn't officially sign. So clearly they're going to. It feels like a bit of a play for Fangio. And let's see. I saw this. Where did it go? Don't worry, my boy. I will answer your super chat, but we're not talking quarterbacks right this second. So I will fit it in organically into the conversation, and we'll definitely steer the conversation back towards quarterback. And when we do, yours will be at the top of the list, my boy. But right now we're talking DCs. So there's going to be a new DC in town. We just got to figure out who that's going to be. And so far, I like the candidates. I like the candidates that we're working with, so I can deal with that. The 49ers also signed these players to future reserve contracts. Defensive lineman Alex Barrett, offensive lineman Alfredo Gutierrez, safety Taylor Hawkins, O-line Keith Ishmael, DB Quantrez Knight, wide receiver Tay Martin, wide receiver Daz Newsome, O-line Jason Poe, linebacker Curtis Robinson, and offensive lineman Leroy Watson. I love this list. I think this list, there are like a potential I think there are multiple starting caliber players on this list that could eventually develop into starters one day. So I'm a big Tay Martin guy. Jason Poe is someone who could develop into potentially maybe a starting center one day. Quantrez Knight showed a ton last year in training camp. Taylor Hawkins, I think, is a guy like that could fall into that role that of playing backups, a backup safety, because I think Tarvarius Moore's time with the 49ers is done. I don't think Tarvarius Moore is going to be back. So Taylor Hawkins has an opportunity in front of him to fill into that role. And Daz Newsome is good as well. So there's a lot of guys here on this list. And I think I agree. This was surprising. If you would have asked me about like which one of these players might have an impact next year, it probably I would have definitely been high up there with Marcelino McCrary Ball at linebacker. And especially with the likelihood of Aziz leaving, I would have assumed that Marcelino McCrary Ball would have been like Marcelino. You guys remember he had a phenomenal preseason. Dude was balling out. He had a great training camp. He looked like a guy that was really going to fit in. But he was not retained. So that was interesting. Yeah, I agree. I was surprised to hear that. Really surprised to hear that. So we'll see. And Alfredo Gutierrez is back. Alex Barrett's back. We've talked about those guys. Leroy Watson, Curtis Robinson. Curtis Robinson made the roster. They had to burn a IR designation on Curtis Robinson, which turned out to like maybe I don't even. It's not even worth talking about. Not even worth talking about. Oh gosh. I just had like a flashback of PTSD from that Philadelphia Eagles game, man. Oh. All right. So my guy's patiently waiting to get a super chat answered. So I'm going to answer it because he's been very patient. And part of the reason we already talked about it, but I'll bring it back up. Do you think Jimmy will be back because Brock is hurt? I don't. believe that. I think Jimmy played well enough to get paid enough to go somewhere else. Um, so, and you can let me know in the chat. Would you want to bring Jimmy back? Do you think Jimmy comes back? What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. If I had to give you my answer, the answer is no. I don't think Jimmy comes back. But again, I'm going to do what I did last year. There's a 0.001% chance that Jimmy Garoppolo could return. I said that last year, and Jimmy Garoppolo returned. So I'm going to say it again. 0.001% Jimmy Garoppolo can return, and he's returned on that percentage chance for me. So it's possible. Anything is possible, but probable, I'd say no. Someone's going to pay him, and it's not going to be the 49ers. 49ers got a lot of money to allocate to other players, and they have a cost controlled quarterback room right now. And if they are going to spend on a quarterback, I would spend elsewhere. They've given a lot of money to Jimmy. Jimmy took a pay cut graciously to come back. Jimmy played admirably this year, and he played himself into another contract with someone else. So I got no personal ill will with Jimmy Garoppolo, but I think it's time. I think it's time for just a new era. A new era. A new dawn is upon us. And we thank Jimmy for everything that he's, because I think Jimmy also too has gotten a ton of slander that I don't think is warranted. Now, you know, but that's a conversation for another day. I think Jimmy has been good for us. Whether you like him or not, he's done good things for us. But I do think it's time. It's time for a new era that doesn't involve 10 wearing a 49er jersey. Um, so that's kind of where I stand on that. Lamar to SF, man, I don't know about that. I can't see that. And I like Lamar. I think Lamar's a really good quarterback, but that boy wants big time money, and he's well deserving of getting big time money, and he should get big time money. But I would have to believe that Kyle has got to have some kind of PTSD with running quarterbacks. Like I just I can't see him I can't see the organization shelling out that type of money. I don't think they have that type of money. And then to use his dual capabilities, I think it's just kind of I feel like this year has even made me kind of reevaluate quarterbacks a little bit. Like I was big on the dual threat. I thought that's kind of like the future of the position is having a dual threat, and I think if you can find a dual threat, but first and foremost, I think quarterbacks in the NFL have to be able to play from the pocket. That's number 1. If they can run, awesome. Like what a treat to have. But I need not only do I, but I think Kyle needs a quarterback that can play from the pocket. I mean, you've seen the quarterbacks that Kyle has had most success with. It's Matt Ryan. It's Brock Purdy. It's uh what's his name? From the Texans. It's Kirk Cousins. Matt Schaub is the name that I'm thinking of. He's had his most success in his scheme with quarterbacks who can play from the pocket. So I feel like that's kind of where I'm at. Is you got to be able to play from the pocket first. And if you can add an intangible element with your legs, then great. But that comes after. So we'll see how everything plays out. But it's going to be a wild year, man. It's going to be it's day 2 of the off season, and you would think that we are in peak, like middle of like May type off-season mode. It's pretty wild. It is pretty wild. I think we need to revamp our D line. We need a D tackle and edge opposite of Bosa. This playoff run exposed some of the deficiencies along the D line. Yeah, I would agree with you. Um, I don't think you can bring back Samson Ebukam unless it's just for a steal of a deal. I think Samson was definitely a solid role player, but I think that's just kind of where Samson is at right now. I feel like he's had success because he's such a relentless player. He has such a great motor. And that definitely allows him to make some plays. And Samson has been he's been someone that's been decent. He's been pretty good. Um, but I do think there's a need to really up like to just again, you guys know I've said it a million times when I talk about Brian Burns. I'm like, if you put Brian Burns and Nick Bosa on the field together at the same time, you could have a potato playing quarterback for you because it wouldn't matter because opposing defenses would not be able to do anything or opposing offenses wouldn't be able to do anything to a team that has two just elite edge players. So, like, I agree. I would love to see again, they need to replicate D Ford somehow. They need to replicate that defensive line, or at least the impact of that defensive line when it was D Ford, DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead, and Nick Bosa. Like the offense wasn't even that good. And they won 13 games in a row because of that defensive line. Um, so that's what I'm looking for. I I would like to see someone with an elite skill set opposite of Nick Bosa. And yeah, I agree. They need to build out the depth on that D line more. Obviously, they had to deal with some injuries and all that type of stuff. You do not want to get me started on this. You don't want to get me started on this at all. Corey says, pretty glum in here, but sheesh. I'm as excited for Lance as I was the day we drafted him. Doubt makes no sense. I believe in the kid. Radical, I know. And there's nothing wrong with believing in Trey Lance. I don't think there's anything wrong with believing in Trey Lance. I don't think there's anything wrong in that. I just have, I want to see the 49ers believe in him too. And we'll see. Well, this offseason will tell us what they think. It will absolutely tell us what they think about that quarterback room. So we'll see, man. We have we have a wild ride in front of us here, guys. And there's nothing wrong with believing in Trey Lance. I would hope you believe in Trey Lance. I I don't know what it's going to take to get Trey Lance. Maybe it's Brock Purdy getting injured. That's going to be his opportunity. So we're gonna see, man. I would assume Trey Lance is gonna have first crack at OTAs. It's actually going to give him a great opportunity to kind of settle in and re-solidify himself as the starter and kind of work through that in the offseason. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens in training camp, where the 49ers are going to be in training camp. And I'm very much looking forward to it. It's going to be a wild ride. Matt Ryan coming to San Francisco. I actually wouldn't be totally surprised by that. I definitely wouldn't love it. But I wouldn't be surprised by that. Uh, how many free agents do we have? My guy, I saw 49ers edits put together a list. I can pull that list up so we can look at it. 49er edits. Let's see. Nope, that's not what I want. This is what I want. All right. Here we go. So this is our list of free agents. Listen to Nelson, smash that like button. Bailey says, what guys would you choose to complement Nick Bosa on the D line? That's a good question. I'd have to look at a list of free agents, but hopefully they could hit on someone in the draft as well. I'd have to look at a list of free agents and all that type of stuff. But this is what we got. A lot of guys up. So right off the bat, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 solidified starters, 2 fringe starters. No, Robbie Gould's a starter, so he becomes a starter. Dude, I didn't even think about that. Is that the last we saw of Robbie Gould? You think they're gonna re-sign Gould? They gave him a lot of money. They gave Gould a lot of money. I know it's Gold. I'm so used to calling him Gould. Robbie Gould. But it'll be interesting to see. I imagine they bring him back because they love him. They love Robbie a lot. Hopefully, they could get him back on a little bit of a cheaper of a deal. So that would be great. I don't know about the guaranteed contract like last time, but maybe, maybe a 1 year. I mean, they got plenty of picks. Would be a great year to also draft a kicker in like the 7th round. See what happens. I think one of the best kickers in the league was a rookie this year. But I do imagine they're going to bring Robbie. They love Robbie. So I imagine Robbie comes back. But I do think Mike McGlinchey could sign elsewhere. I think Samson Ebukam could sign elsewhere. We know Jimmy Ward is not going to be re-signing. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be re-signing. I think I might have said this already. I think Aziz is going to be going with DeMeco. I don't think they're going to re-sign Daniel Brunskill. I don't. It'll be interesting to see how they manage Hassan Ridgeway because I do think they did like Hassan Ridgeway. So would be interested to see if they reunite with him. Kerry Hyder, I don't think so. Tyler Croft, I know probably most of you don't want to. I don't think he comes back. I think they need to upgrade tight end too. And that also for me isn't a judgment on just like the NFC Championship game. I think with the amount of 2 tight end sets that they run, they need a more quality tight end too. And someone, George Kittle is, he's not, it's crazy to say he's not a spring chicken anymore. So get someone in that room that could develop and vibe with Kittle. Um, so I'm looking for an upgrade over tight end 2. Maurice Hurst, I think, would have had a big role this year, but he got hurt in training camp. I don't know what the future holds for him. Tashawn Gibson, I actually wouldn't mind bringing him back, especially if you could get him back on a quote unquote affordable contract. I think if you can get Tashawn back, he proved to be a good asset this year. And of course, a starting caliber safety. So if you can get Gibson back for especially a bit of a steal, that would be great. I would imagine that everyone's seen enough of Josh Johnson. Oh man. I imagine everyone's seen enough of Josh Johnson. I wouldn't mind bringing Jordan Willis back. Tabor Pepper, wouldn't mind having Tabor Pepper back. Ross Dwelly, I think unfortunately it is time to part ways with peanut butter dwelly time. Jake Brendel. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring back Jake Brendel. I think Jake Brendel comes back. I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what the market is like for Jake Brendel because, as you guys know, Jake Brendel was voted as a Pro Bowl alternate, which means that didn't come from the fans. That came from players and coaches. So if Jake Brendel is seen that way across the league, it will be interesting to see what type of market he has. Because again, offensive linemen don't grow on trees. So it will be interesting. I think that's the only thing that the 49ers have to worry about in bringing him back is that if there's a market for him. I think if there's a market for him, I think the 49ers might balk a little bit on that. Daniel says, I hope to draft a center. I agree with you. I mean, I feel like they need to spend half their draft on offensive line. I feel like they have to. They gotta draft across the board, 2 tackles, 2 guards, and a center. They gotta draft an entire they have to draft 5 offensive linemen. They got to. They got to. We got a Seattle Seahawk fan saying, "Welcome to the couch, 49ers fans. We even saved you a cold one and a spot." I guess I can't be mad at it, Michael. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for saving us a spot, and thank you for saving us a cold one. You're welcome around these parts anytime you want with that type of energy. Typically, we don't get along too well with Seattle Seahawks fans, but I feel this is respectable, and I'll allow it. Unless he's just trolling the hell out of us. But hey, appreciate the super chat. Well, that's a great way to also like enter an enemy's den. Like, so if you are genuine, feel free, hang out, vibe. We'll talk NFC West. He said, "I'm just playing, guys." Good stuff, Michael. Great introduction to the group. Oh yeah, I don't care. I could care less. Jason Verrett. I don't think Jason Verrett comes back. I don't know, man. I feel so gutted for Jason Verrett. I was so looking forward to him coming back, and man, that situation played out. I didn't know. So Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles is a restricted free agent, which means the 49ers control his rights. Kevin Givens is a restricted free agent. Dude, Kevin Givens, am I tripping? Or does it feel like Kevin Givens has been a San Francisco 49er forever? And he's still on his like rookie because he's an undrafted free agent, right? So he's still kind of like on his rookie deal. So he's an RFA. Uh, Tarvarius Moore, I don't think Tarvarius Moore comes back. I think that's done with. Um, Charles Omenihu, uh, I thought Charles Omenihu had a fantastic year. Um, it ended in a really unfortunate way, but if we have to look at the body of work before that, Charles Omenihu had a great year, all things considered. Um, he would be a great 3-4 defensive end. Uh, but as we know, he got into a little hot water there at the end. So I think they gotta like let that play out before, they move forward on anything. So we'll see. Um, it's just an unfortunate situation with how it ended. And then Juwan Jennings, ERFA, exclusive rights free agent. Um, Gotta have Juwan back. Cap went up 16%. Yep. So there's room, but you have to think that just that cap space alone that opened up, that cap space alone is probably going to be like Nick Bosa's contract is probably going to be like 16% of their cap total. Do you think that Eagles will keep Robert Quinn? I completely forgot that Robert Quinn was on the Eagles. Did he even play? Did he even I don't even think did he play against us? I didn't even notice him. I forgot that he got traded to them. That's interesting. I didn't even know that. Um, do I think the Eagles will keep Robert Quinn? If not, would you consider signing him on an incentive-based deal? Yeah, I mean, I would sign Robert Quinn on an incentive-based deal. That seems pretty. Oh, okay. The Texans are requesting to interview 49ers passing game coordinator Bobby Slowick as their OC. Ho ho boy. The poaching continues. Oh, that sucks. Um from everything that I have heard, I believe Bobby Slowick was also heavily responsible for getting Brock Purdy in town. So, oh boy, another Shanahan disciple potentially getting poached by DeMeco Ryans on the offensive side too, man. Hey, they're like Shanny, man. I know a lot of people want to be outraged with Shanahan right now, but that dude is put together a coaching factory. Like, my goodness. That's nuts. So, passing game coordinator Bobby Slowick, someone again who John Lynch credited as being in a huge part in getting Brock Purdy. It was Bobby Slowick and Brian Greasy that really it was those two guys that championed Brock Purdy to be on this team. Texans offensive That's a big role too because DeMeco's a defensive coordinator, like a defensive minded head coach. So that would have Bobby Slowick as like basically the head coach of the offense. That's crazy. Under DeMeco Ryans. So it's gonna be interesting to see if they grant that. Wonder what Kyle's gonna do. Is Kyle gonna let him go? All right, let me make this post. All right. Passing game coordinator could be on the move. Could be on the move. Did they say how much DeMeco got paid? I haven't seen anything. Might have came out when we've been on live. Did they say? Did they say how much? I know he signed a 6-year deal. I would imagine I'm sure he's probably one of the highest paid coaches right now, especially if Denver you could have clearly used Denver for leverage to even drive the price up higher. So interesting. Um. Oh, thank you. Sam said you had a great season, Brad. Well, thank you. I would say we had a great season. We had a great season. We, as the Sourdough Squad, had a phenomenal year. Um, I think it was a great year for the squad. We leveled up as a squad, uh, for sure. We got bigger, we got stronger, and we're ready for this off season ahead of us. So shout out to SDS, man. Shout out all you guys. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, Sam. All right. Okay. Any other last couple questions that you guys want to get in? I mean, there's a lot to talk about today. Lots to talk about. Wait a second. Wait a second. Trent Williams. All right, hold on a second. We're gonna listen to this together. We're gonna react to this together. No way, Trent Williams is thinking about retiring on me. No way. No way, Trent Williams is thinking about retiring on me. Hold on one second. We gotta listen to this soundbite together because I'm gonna shed a tear if he's really thinking about hanging him up. So I'm gonna play this for all of us. Hold on one sec. All right. You guys ready for this? You ready? Oh gosh. All right. I haven't heard this yet. So we're going to be listening to this together. Hold on. All right.
Nah.
You're still at the top of your game, but you are at an age where sometimes guys think about that. You're not thinking about retiring, are you?
Nah. I mean, it's a long season, you know, and having 2 long seasons back to back, you know, it does get pretty grueling for a 34-year-old guy like myself, knowing I'll be 35 when the season start. You know, you do kind of think about what's life look like after football. You know, because I've done this every year of my life since the 2nd grade. You know, so. You know, you do get to that age where, you know, especially after ending a year like this and it being as exhausting as it was, and, you know, still not getting quite where you want to be. You know, I get it. You know, you get to that age, but honestly, I'm just taking it one day at a time, and, you know, we'll see how all that goes going forward.
Do you have a feeling like how much longer you could play this high of a level?
I don't. I think it's all about what I can do during the off season. You know, sticking to my regimen, sticking to the blueprint, and trying to, you know, study myself, figure out ways to get better, figure out anything that I can see on film or anything. That's pretty much what I use this time for. But you know, I'm just taking it one day at a time. Really ain't. It ain't a lot of future to look forward to, so, you know, I might as well live in the present, right? So I'm just really just taking it one day at a time.
Whoo! That makes me sad a little bit because I 100% understand what he's saying. Like, and I don't think he's like totally like alluding to retirement, but I forget who said it. I forget who said it. It might have been Joe Staley. But it's like once you start like thinking about it, like once you start kind of processing it, like it's the beginning of the end, right? Because like it becomes more real. It becomes more like real of a situation. So, man, that would be that would gut me. You guys know Trent Williams is one of my he's one of my all-time favorite players. Um, not just one of my favorite players now on this team. Like he is up there with all-time favorite. I love watching Trent. I get so much enjoyment out of watching Trent Williams play football. Watching Trent Williams play football makes me love football more. So, oh, that would be brutal, man. It was just like when Staley retired. I wasn't ready for Staley to retire, but thankfully, like the 49ers traded for Trent, and so it was like a quick, like, all right, that was absolutely terrible that Staley retired, but we got Trent, and I was like, okay, well, I feel a lot better. I don't know if that's happening. Oh, that would suck, man. I love Trent. He's a goat. I don't care. Like people always have this argument with me, and I'm not going to pretend like I've watched a ton of old school players. Uh but there's no way that any offensive lineman has ever stepped on the field and been as good as Trent. Like, there's just no way. And that's with me not, there's just no way. That's like Anthony Munoz, what's his name? The freaking Dallas offensive lineman. His name's escaping me at the moment. Trent he's a GOAT. He's an absolute GOAT. And I feel for him, man. These have been long ass seasons that have ended in heartbreak. And he's been so close. Larry Allen, thank you. Larry Allen. That's who I'm thinking of. And Larry Allen's a GOAT too. Orlando Pace. Orlando Pace is dope too. But still, Trent Williams, I think, is better. Ogden, dope. Yep. Ogden was great. Yeah, I'll give you a shout out 49ers George. He says, "Hi Brad, is it possible to get a 60-second recap for viewers that have just joined?" Yeah, I'll give you a 60-second recap. 60-second recap. All right, let's see how we can do a 60-second recap for George. I'll pull up some visuals to help kind of get me on track. So we were just talking about Trent. Trent was potentially he's effectively taking it day by day on a potential retirement. So we're just waiting and seeing. We talked about the award winners from today. So 49ers handed out awards. So that happened. Trey Lance talked about his recovery time, 3 to 4 weeks. Trey Lance will be fully cleared and able to practice 100% for OTAs. Brock Purdy is still waiting to make a decision on if he's going to have surgery on the torn UCL or not. So we're trying to decide if it's going to be a repair, rehab, or full-blown Tommy John. So we're trying to figure that out. Of course, Trey Lance is kind of stepping back into the mix of potentially being the starting quarterback next year. DeMeco Ryans was hired as the Texans head coach. We have requested permission to interview Steve Wilkes. Christian McCaffrey is going to the Pro Bowl. This was the big news here. Vic Fangio is going to be interviewing with the 49ers for the DC spot. These are the players that we signed to reserve future contracts: Alex Bear, Alfredo Gutierrez, Taylor Hawkins, Keith Ishmael, Quantrez Knight, Tay Martin, Daz Newsome, Jason Poe, Curtis Robinson, Leroy Watson. So I don't know if that was quite 60 minutes. And just now, while on stream, Bobby Slowick has been requested to interview for the Texans. Look at this comment. POV, you just watched Brad make this post on YouTube Live. I like that comment. Good comment. Can we pin it? No, it won't let me pin it on here. I like this comment. POV, you just watched Brad make this post on YouTube. That's funny. So hopefully, hey, that's you. Or no, right here. That's you. I like that comment. Good comment. That's a win comment. So that's our as close as I could get it to 60-second recap. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate the super chat, dude. Appreciate both the super chats. Oh, that was 61 seconds. Damn it! I got to get better, guys. I got to hit the film. I got to identify what I need to work on better, kind of tighten things up a little bit, work on the technique. Got to work on the quickness. Got to get sharper. So I'm gonna make sure that I get back into the film, and we get after it, and we get better, and we improve. So that's a promise. When are we bringing? Oh, I brought out the tinfoil hat. I started I started the show with the tinfoil hat. Tinfoil hat's right here. All right. Do you guys want to do any film? Obviously, we're not doing it today. Today was a big news kind of recap. Do you want to do film? Like, do you want? Heck, I'm not gonna lie, that game was pretty gross, and on both sides, it was kind of the defense started out better, and the defense was giving us a shot, but once the quarterback situation happened, it went downhill fast. So yeah, it was pretty gross. I'm not gonna lie. There were some good plays, and there are plays where you're like, "Come on, man, come on." Today's Tuesday, so yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday, so yeah, Jason should be on tomorrow. For State of the Franchise. Yep, State of the Franchise. Both of us decided to forego the Senior Bowl. So yeah, we should be on tomorrow. And it doesn't look like anyone wants to watch the film. So I think we've seen enough. I think we have seen enough. So yeah, we started off talking about it. That was probably the toughest game I've seen in a while. Did Aponte just go back on? Did Aponte just go live? Are you gonna raid Aponte again? That was hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. I thoroughly enjoyed that. That was pretty damn funny. That was pretty funny. That was that was wild. But yeah, if he's going live, you better hop in there and say what's up. Support Jason. Sub to the channel, like the channel. What did we do? What was our like? What did we end with? Something tells me we're like at like 68 likes on this video. We had a good amount of people in here. But definitely feels like this felt like a 68 like type video. I don't think I asked for maybe one time I said like this video, but we were more just focused on getting through it. Oh, we're at 168. That's not bad. It's 100 more than I thought. So we should be able to hit 200 right now. Oh my god. If Aponte is live right now and you're gonna go raid, think of something else other than SDS. Think of something like everyone go raid with spicy, the spicy jalapeno emoji. Because that's on brand for Jason. So I think if you guys are gonna go raid, use the spicy emoji. Yes, just like this. But perfect time. If he's live, I'm about to get off. I've been on here long enough. We're only 15 away from 200. How about this? We're gonna get to 200, and then you guys go drop the spicy emoji in the raid, and then we go. You guys want the link? All right, I'll send you the link. Where's let me find a Ponte. Damn it, they're being serious, and we're rating them. Oh my gosh! All right, be nice, guys. Don't throw them off their game. Oh man, show love, all that good stuff. But I appreciate you guys. I'm out of here for now. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.